What's up, guys? Primetime Poulton here, the moral compass. I'm all alone. Phil has oh, hold that thought. There he is.
What up, everybody?
Better late than better late than never, McNulty.
It's better late than McNever.
Yeah.
This is the one show you can't kick me from, Leroy, because it's half my show.
So big day today. I don't know if you know this, Phil, but in less than 1 hour, we're launching Graveyard Shift Volume 3, variant cover, and Graveyard Shift Visions #1, which is our swimsuit issue.
I saw the Roquefort cover, and my mind was blown. That thing is a stunning piece of artwork.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. I'm excited for the launch. Actually, at 6 p.m., we have to have this done before 6 because I'm hopping over to John Malin's channel and we're going to launch the book. Leroy says, "Moral compass, are you going to abandon us now? You are big timing it with Malin." No, absolutely not. The only reason I'm jumping over to John's channel is because I have never been invited to a Graveyard Shift launch stream before, which is crazy considering I'm the guy who came up with Graveyard Shift. So I'm not going to miss out on my one time. Who knows if I'll ever get invited again? But yeah, definitely going to jump over there. And who knows? I was supposed to stream with Sean later tonight. Who knows? Maybe I still will. I don't know. But I promised my family I would go out to dinner with them around 7 o'clock. So I'll be on John's stream for about an hour. So Leroy was actually gonna when I said you weren't here. He was gonna come in and co-host with me. What a trooper!
That's right. I got tomorrow is a big map rally for the state of New Jersey. They have their map placement, so I got caught up doing that. Gotta handle what pays the bills first, and then the wrestling second.
What's up, Skip? Thanks for joining us. Oh, we got Replicator Rob here. He never hangs out on the wrestling streams. Mark is counting down the minutes before he can ditch McNulty.
Never.
Yeah, we were saying this pandemic has only made us better friends.
Yeah. So
Skip's on your side. He says kick Rob.
Don't worry. Hashtag Team McNulty popped up on a certain other podcast.
Oh, on Leroy's chat last night, he can't
get rid of me. He cannot get rid of me.
Come on, I'm wearing my Bryce Harper jersey. Only the best player in all of baseball. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing Phoenix Suns legend, 76ers legend, Houston Rockets legend, all-around NBA legend, Charles Barkley. Throwback to the Phoenix Suns, my favorite basketball team, because Charles Barkley was my favorite player. So I just followed the player rather than the team.
Yeah, Lord Crackhead, thanks for joining us. Rob the Replicator, we are best friends until John calls me. It's kind of true, sorry. Never hail Phil.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
See, I'm winning over points today, Moral Compass.
We got to get started.
Yeah.
Big week in wrestling. Impact Wrestling we're starting it off with, and we are starting it off with Finn Juice defending the Impact Tag Team titles against Triple XL. You know, Phil, I love Triple XL. I think they're one of the breakout stars from the past year. They really benefited from Wrestle House, which it's this is like the first time we've mentioned Wrestle House, I think, in over a month.
Which is a shame because, Wrestle House will look completely different since basically half the people on the show are gone.
Yeah.
And the star of it, Taya, is now with WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, but Triple XL came out looking strong from Wrestle House, and they've been Impact's been kind of heating them up, taking them more seriously. Every now and then they'll put AC in a comedy role, like backstage doing detective work. But when they're in the ring, they're serious. And this was a good showing for them. Of course, FinJuice gets the win. They're the newly crowned tag team champions. They're taking those belts to Japan. I don't know if you saw it, but Juice Robinson actually had it on New Japan TV, I think last night.
Can we talk about how Juice Robinson is just a megastar, like waiting to like hit the main scene? Like I remember when he was just Juice Robinson, like the long hair, dreaded hippie, saved the world on NXT when he was behind the likes of Pac.
He was Corey
Sami
Parker
Zayn.
back then.
That's right. That's right. Even and who else was gorgeous? Tyler Breeze. Those were the classic days of NXT, and he kind of got lost in the shuffle. And now he's just been fantastic since he got to New Japan. And I haven't seen much. I don't know much of David Finlay. I've liked from what I've seen, but you know, Juice Robinson is the man.
Well, if David Finlay's half as good as his dad, Fit Finlay, then he's a badass because Fit Finlay was the man. So FinJuice gets the victory. Good Brothers come out. They're making excuses why they lost the titles. They're great in this role. I mean, you've been hyping up Big LG every week. He's just fantastic on the mic. These guys are really getting to be themselves, and they're absolutely entertaining.
In the middle of watching it, I sent you the text message of saying, I love the Big LG. I didn't say he was a megastar. I said he's a megastar on the rise. He hasn't been able, he's just debuting on American television, Leroy. So
Aaron Judge, get out of here.
So as we but yeah, I just think Big LG is awesome. I think their promo made so much sense for them that they were out drinking, they were out partying, and they got caught off guard, and they don't expect it to be the same next time they wrestle in a month.
Yeah, so they're not going to get their rematch until the pay-per-view Rebellion. So it's going to be interesting. I guess FinJuice, I don't know how much they taped when they did the Impact tapings with FinJuice, but they're in Japan right now, so it'll be interesting. They already had said that they are taking the belts to Japan, so it makes sense if they didn't show them for a while, unless they doctor up the backstage and make it look like Japan.
Well, I mean, and I think I think this was all said and done because they were all taped before the pay-per-view, so they filmed them losing the titles before the match even occurred. So that's how well planned that Impact has been there.
No. All right. Next up, match number 2. We got the latest member of Violent by Design, Rhino, against Jake Something, with Chris Sabin and James Storm in his corner. I'm actually surprised. Rhino gets the win, but it seemed like they were building up Jake Something, but
I guess at this point Violent by Design is more of a priority than Jake Something. It's just the way the wrestling business happens. You can be on top 1 week and then 2 weeks later, and I think because they were all filmed in succession, they didn't realize the impact, no pun intended, that Jake Something main event was going to happen. So I think that there's sort of your benefits. You got your pros and your cons of filming so many in a row, and this was just happened to be a con where people were expecting big things from him, when in the grand picture it seems like he was just more of a storyline device.
Yeah, crazy that he's main eventing Impact 1 week and then losing to Rhino, who Rhino's on the later stages of his career. Awesome that he's part of Violent by Design now. Kind of gives him a new coat of paint, and he had that trophy that guarantees him a title shot. So I don't know if that'll come into play while he's with Violent by Design. I think they want to keep that until Heath comes back, but that might be a long time.
Yeah, I just feel like they just wanted. The good thing is they didn't want us to forget that he had it, and possibly teasing that he could be using it for Violent by Design's purpose. But that's about it.
Match number 3, we have Rohit Raju versus Mahabali Shera. Um, this was the upset of the week, I think. Rohit Raju with the victory. You know, Mohamed Ali Shira looks like a beast. Um, he's like the best part of the Rohit Raju act. I don't know.
This was weird. The fact that he about 2 weeks ago was it? He debuted as Muscle, and now he's already turned on him.
Yeah.
It's I think some way during these tapings they're probably like, man, we just got to keep moving away from her. Yet he wins. I don't get it. I don't get it, Mark.
Uh, he's got to be tight with Scott D'Amore, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Splat Guts, thanks for joining us. Ain't it 6:00 yet? I want to see this launch. Yeah, we're getting there. We're 49 minutes away. Leroy, I bet Phil hasn't even backed Starlight Cats. Phil, do you know what Starlight Cats is?
I have no clue what Starlight Cats is.
It's Shane Davis's Indiegogo book.
Oh, then I'll back it. I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go and get it. I love Shane Davis art.
Next up, we have. So this is. Yeah. So this is the backstage segment with Rich Swann. Him and Willie Mack are talking. He goes to the stage, to the ring. He's super excited. He's double champion now, TNA champion, Impact champion, and Don Callis comes out, and Callis cuts the promo of the night. This promo was so good that he cut on Rich Swann, basically saying, no matter what you do, there's no way you could win at Rebellion. This promo was so good that you won't believe this, but I feel sorry for Rich Swann, and I'm rooting for Rich Swann now.
This Don Callis has turned himself into a better manager than Paul Heyman. At this point, right now in wrestling, Paul Heyman is sort of he gets one note. Like it's nice for a while, and then he gets one note. And I don't think that's supposed to be the heat that he gets, but it's very one note. Whereas Callis is just will tear you down to size, right? Leroy, thank you, but no thank you. Um, and I don't think Mark would like that either. So, anywho, um, yeah, it just made me feel like bad for Rich Swann. I still want to see him get his ass kicked, but Don Callis was just every bit as good as you wanted him to be here. It made you, and he built up Swann so that it kind of gave you maybe about 0.5%, chance for him to make the upset. But I think he was right. He's a really good superstar, but he's not once in a generation talent like Kenny Omega. And I think the reason why this promo was so good, as we said, is because the truth hurts. And, the truth is the truth at this point.
Yeah. Splatgut says, I hope Mark isn't going to show videos of that Gail lady. I'm not sure what you're talking about. This is the second time I've heard reference of someone showing videos of Gail. I have no idea what that is. Clue me in the chat if you guys are, if you know what Splatguts is talking about. Splatguts, are you going to get that swimsuit issue book? Yeah, man. Graveyard Shift Visions launching at 6:00, 46 minutes away. So we followed up this great segment with probably the second best promo of the night, and this was Brian Myers walking in on Matt Cardona and Eddie Edwards, and he lets Matt Cardona have it, basically saying all his career he's basically been married to Matt Cardona. He's tired of being in Matt's shadow. Impact was for him. This was his place. He doesn't want his friend here. He told him to get lost. I'm a huge Brian Myers fan. Before Impact Wrestling, Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder was my guy. But since then, I'm on Team Brian Myers. He's fantastic. But he made me feel sorry for Matt Cardona here.
See, I had the other reaction. I think because we both followed sort of Myers and Cardona's career up into this point, and it feels like Brian Myers always takes the back seat. Always has, even when he was released and then he got his new gimmick where, he was supposed to be like the Chuck Norris fax, and then he went on to have his losing streak. And then he was tied back to Zack Ryder, and that's when he got his win, and then he was back to losing. This was the first time he was really carving out his name for himself and his stock in the wrestling world. And as it rose, inconveniently, Matt Cardona came back. So I actually was with Brian Myers on this one because I hope he goes over in this feud because I think he should stamp the fact that he is Impact and he is the most professional wrestler there.
Yeah, I think he will go over in this feud. I feel like Impact has really invested a lot of time in him, and yeah, I don't know. I see future world champion him. I don't see it in Matt Cardona, unfortunately.
Agreed.
Leroy, our Splatgut says these guys could be telling complete lies about wrestling, and I wouldn't know the difference. Well, I appreciate you joining us anyway. Did you tell Phil he isn't a best friend anymore? you no showed the last best friends show. Well, you let us know.
Yeah. Hey, Leroy, parent teacher conferences. I'm just not the main event on screen. I'm the main event outside the screen too. Everybody wants a little bit of the main event.
Next up, we have a 12-woman tag team match. This was done to basically get every woman some screen time this week. Not a great match. Jazz gets the victory. I assume Jazz is next in line for a title shot against Deonna Purrazzo.
Did you catch the latest article about Jordan Grace? The latest scuttlebutt?
I did not.
It came out. She had an interview recently, I think, with Wrestling Inc. And her contract is up, I believe, in April or May. So she was talking about what her next move is, and she said that she's looking at two different possibilities, which I believe is AEW and WWE. And she ended it with saying the WWE has always been her dream.
Yeah.
So Jordan Grace is as good as gone. Where she goes, I hope she pulls the all ego and goes to AEW.
Yeah, they could use her. We've talked about the AEW women's division in length, and we'll talk about it some more. Main event time: Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel. Surprising result because they've been really building up Trey Miguel, but I guess they're saving the big Trey Miguel victory over Sami Callihan for Rebellion. Sami Callihan gets the victory. What's your thoughts on this storyline?
I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. Sami Callihan is kind of the guy who I'll say it. He never carries feuds. He's got to be carried within feuds. And Trey Miguel is not at the point where he can cut a promo to carry Callihan. Whereas Eddie Edwards, he's always the guy who said, you know what, as a professional wrestler, and I had to beat you at your own game. And that sort of turned him nuts. And how we got the evolution of Eddie Edwards there. He needs Ken Shamrock sort of to be the legit in-ring presence for Sami to be the promo. Because the hacker gimmick, to me, will never get over. It seems like he's just so attached to it and doesn't want to let it go that he's not allowing it to die itself. So unfortunately, we're going to get one more match of this. I hope it doesn't turn Trey Miguel heel. I hope it just gives it an edge to him, sort of like Eddie Edwards.
I think Sami Callihan, it's time for him to move on from Impact. He's done everything he can in Impact. Former world champion, involved in the hottest feud maybe in the history of Impact with the original feud with Eddie Edwards with the baseball bat incident. And his feud with Tessa Blanchard, pretty high profile as well. But yeah, at this point, rehashing the hacker gimmick from NXT, I think it's time for him to move on. Leroy says, Ken Shamrock, the MMA guy? Yeah. He went from MMA to pro wrestling, wrestled for WWF, 30 years ago?
Yeah, lost to The Rock, and that was it.
Yeah, and he's still wrestling today. He looks fantastic. He looks like a jacked Al Bundy.
But before we move on to Dynamite, where does Callihan go?
I'd like to see him in AEW. I'd like to see him feud with Cody.
I can't see him because they already got that guy. It's Joey Janela. They already got that guy. It's Darby Allin.
I think he's better than Janela.
That's true. Better than Janela, but AEW needs more stars and less filler guys because we're starting to get to the point where they have more filler guys than stars right now.
I know he's better than Jimmy Havoc. And
Kip Sabian. Okay, maybe he is a welcome addition. I'll
yeah.
redact that statement for the time being.
All right. So AEW.
Yeah, so let's move on to AEW. It was their Shamrock Slam, and it was highlighted by a lights out, unsanctioned main event match between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, and that will close the show. And we'll get to that at the end of this show. So it opened up with Cody Rhodes versus Penta El Zero Miedo, in which was a really good match, really good progression of storylines. Alex Marvez is now basically Penta's mouthpiece. It is just absolutely awesome. He plays that so well, of this very intellectual man who says things about another man kicking another man's ass. And it's just like he just sells it really well. The match ends when Cody gets a surprise roll up on Penta, and then Penta just beats his ass afterwards.
Yeah, I can't believe they gave us this match right away. I thought it was going to lead to a pay-per-view, but this feud isn't over. I love that the Nightmare Factory, the worst faction in all of wrestling, came running to his aid. Everyone except QT Marshall, who shows up late. I don't know, QT Marshall starting to grow on me.
I can't believe I'm about to say this right now. QT Marshall was awesome in this spot. And the way he just sat next to Pentagon.
39 more minutes. Oh, 38 more minutes. We're getting there. Graveyard Shift launch.
It's not incoherent if you know what we're talking about. In fact, most people will probably agree with me, Leroy. So get on that train.
All right, next match.
So next up, we had Jade Cargill in a squash match against Danny Jordan. Your thoughts?
She looked great. That overhead suplex she did on Danny Jordan looked vicious.
They did this ass backwards. They should have had her beat a jobber.
Yeah.
They should have had that video package afterwards. Then she interrupts the Cody Rhodes promo that goes into the Shaq match, which did over 1 million viewers. So they did backwards, but I think they're finally getting her to a point where she kind of resembles of a young Rock talent-wise. Has no idea what she's doing, first coming into the business, but the raw natural talent is there.
Yeah, no, they did her no favors by introducing her in a segment with Brandy Rhodes. Brandy is the kiss of death in AEW. How many things has she been involved with that has failed? The Nightmare, what was that called?
Collective.
The Nightmare Collective, terrible. Her tag team with Allie, the Nightmare Sisters, terrible. Velvet, Red Velvet's, mentor, yeah, terrible. The whole Shaq thing, terrible. She's the kiss of death. I'm thankful she's not on TV.
What funny, I ended up selling her figure on eBay for $135. So
wow.
If there's anything she wasn't bad luck for, it was my bank account.
Not the kiss of death there.
So next up, you called it, you were right. MJF introduces his new faction, the Pinnacle, in which Sean Spears looked legit for the first time since bashing Cody with that steel chair. I like they're introducing him as the literal chairman. But overall, good promo. Interesting to see where it goes from there.
Tully started off the promo. He's fantastic. Mark my words, in 1 year from now, main eventing an AEW pay-per-view will be MJF defending the world title against Wardlow.
We're waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Wardlow is just money.
Mike, she's terrible. Very attractive woman.
Can't wrestle worth a damn.
I like her when she's just herself, but every storyline she's involved in is brutal.
she started in AEW as like a witch, sort of sorceress who cuts the hair off of other girls before people were just like, and then they introduced a bald guy from Japan. It just got weird real fast and ended even quicker. So next up, we had a 10-man tag match, which had Jurassic Express and Bear Country versus the new signees of Matt Hardy, Butcher and the Blade, along with Private Party and Matt Hardy. Ended up being a big sort of spot fest match. Had some Bear Country and Jurassic Express sort of fought during the match. Will they work together well? Storyline, which ended up being that they didn't end up working well. And it turned out to be Matt Hardy sort of stealing the win from one of his guys and saying that he won't take their cut from their matches until April because he's a smart dude.
That I felt like this was just a spotlight for Bear Country. They really shined in this match. I expect big things from them. Butcher and Blade and Bunny, they have no idea what to do with these people. They bounce around from Eddie Kingston. Now they're with Matt Hardy. They were just fine when they were themselves by themselves.
Now that Kingston's a face, they had to do it. And I think that's they're gonna be probably the first. They'll be the first ones released from this. I bet you from AEW they'll be the first sort of cuts.
Mark Clark, thanks for joining us. He says, small issue, but Cody needs to quit bleaching his hair. At this point, I prefer him with the bleach blonde hair than the dark hair.
I'm with Mark, not you, Mark. Mark from the chat, because he looked so cool when he came out with like the dark purple, sort of black hair, when he looked like he was in the red and it looked like he was going to really kick the Dark Order's ass. I felt like that was a turn in direction, and now it just feels like he's gone back to Cody Rhodes sort of treading water for the time being.
Yeah, when he came back with the dark hair, you really thought that was going to be a change in his character. But no, what was it? A week with dark hair?
A week, and then
he probably had to film something like a TV show or something.
And then he has the Snoop Dogg track, which is just terrible. And I think we're slowly getting Cody Rhodes written off television for a while.
My hair looks fantastic, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, Phil, but I have a great hair day.
It's peak. So next up, we had Tony Schiavone for like a month straight now interviewing Sting and Darby Allin. Darby comes out saying, you know what, Mr. Brody Lee was the greatest TNT champion of all time, so he's going to be a fighting champion with open challenges, and he's first issuing it to anyone in the Dark Order. To which Lance Archer comes out and interrupts Schiavone, saying that Lance Archer is basically saying that he doesn't need to be any title for the face of Revolution, and he's now going to get his time back. To which Team Taz interrupted, and sort of the standout part of this segment was the Machine Brian Cage finally becoming the Swolverine again.
Yeah, first thing I want to point out, I love when the wrestlers rip the mic out of Tony Schiavone's hand. He looks so pissed off every time they do it. He just like throws his hands up like, fine, I'm out of here. But Brian Cage, so Brian Cage started doing a babyface turn. Team Taz isn't happy with him. We said he's like, what, the fifth? No, he's the fifth man on Team Taz now that Hook is part of the team. So it only makes sense to get him away from the group. I feel like everyone that's part of this group, especially Ricky Starks, is just outshining him.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, Brian Cage is one of the few people in wrestling that can't play a heel. Have you noticed that, whether it be his Impact run or even his Lucha Underground run, he starts out as a heel and it just doesn't translate well, and then he becomes a monster face. So just get him back to being him, and that'll be good.
See you later, Skip. Yep, Jimmy King. He's the best. A little Ready to Rumble reference there, Phil. I don't know if you are familiar with that film.
It's one movie I have seen. There you go, Leroy. So next up, we have we got into Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley versus the Good Brothers. It leads into basically a Kingston and Moxley victory, but turns into a big beatdown afterwards, sort of saying sayonara to Moxley and Moxley from the title picture. Looks like Kingston's going to be the next challenger up, but really just turned into a great beatdown by Omega and the Good Brothers. And then the Young Bucks came out, to which they refused the too sweet Kenny, and that turns into pushing back and forth, and the Young Bucks sort of skedaddle.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I loved how they isolated Kingston, really beat him down. And Moxley's still selling the injuries from the death match from a week ago. But yeah, this was good stuff. And then leading into the stuff with the Young Bucks, not too sweeting. Kenny and the Good Brothers. It'll be interesting where this goes. Do you still think Kenny's going to be the belt collector and be the one who takes the tag titles away from the Bucks?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be such a dick move because he's going to be like, we're the ones who took him, who beat you. He'll play the card where I'm the only one who can beat you, and I do it over and over again. And that's what's going to make us root for the Bucks ultimately when they go to win them back, is because Omega will turn on his friends and they'll be devastated, and they'll have to maybe get Hangman back with them. Who knows? But it's going to be interesting to see where the story plays out. So
what do we got next?
Next up, we have Rey Fenix versus Angelico in a quick squash match where Phoenix defeats Angelico. Thoughts?
Angelico deserves better than this. I think he's the Shawn Michaels of TH2. I read Jack Evans has some heat on him for busting open 10 on a dark match. Did you see any photos of that?
I have not, but man, that's the only time Angelico and Shawn Michaels are ever going to be using the same sentence.
I don't know. I think Angelico is cool. that whole walk he does to the ring. But yeah, if you can check out the match between, I think they already edited it for YouTube. But Jack Evans does a move off the top rope and hits 10 from the Dark Order in the face with his elbow, and his white mask is just like soaked with blood, and it's all over his chest. I think they edited it because Brody Jr. came down to the ring afterwards and fist bumped 10, and 10's hand was all bloody and stuff, and they were like, not a good look.
It's funny because who do you think the member of the Dark Order who's going to challenge for the TNT title is going to be?
Oh, they already announced it.
Who is it?
It's Johnny Silver.
All right, cool. That'll be a darn good match.
Yeah, they did a backstage segment with the Dark Order, and I think it was, I forget. I think it may have been Dasha who was interviewing them and just said, which one of you guys is going to step up? And they all like raised their hand except for Reynolds, and Reynolds said, "What about John Silver?" And they all agreed. So.
I'm excited. It's going to be a good match. Always good when John Silver gets in the ring. Great personality.
Todd's Truth is saying, yeah, great match. So 10 broke his nose. Yeah, he was a bloody mess, Phil. You got to check it out.
One match that was a bloody mess that was televised was the best women's match in AEW history. One of the best women's matches I will say I've seen, in the unsanctioned lights out match between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, in which these two women absolutely beat the hell out of each other, with Rosa going over Baker.
Yeah, this match was fantastic. Leroy, I know you're not a wrestling fan. Splat Guts, I know you're not a wrestling fan. Thanks for joining us. But you guys should make a point. Go watch this match. It's awesome. Britt Baker, some of the shots they did of her when she's busting open and she's giving like an evil smile were fantastic. She was reminiscent of Mankind when she brought out the thumbtacks and dumped them all over the ground. She went all into this match. She was fantastic.
Man, they can officially give one of these ladies the title tomorrow. these two women are going to carry AEW's division for the long run, because this is the spot they needed. This was the showcase they needed. It got me saying I need Britt Baker as champion like yesterday. That's how good her heel run has been. She quite frankly deserves it. Being the company person of always losing to the NWA talent, this is something. Should be the good faith in her, is that she finally goes over Sheeta, who she was never able to defeat, and wins it.
Leroy is going to pass on the match. He's here for moral support. We still appreciate you. Todd's truth. Britt Baker is still a rookie. She is horrible. She has so many bad spots. It hurts me to watch her. Thunder Rosa is a great wrestler. Now, I don't know. I think Britt Baker is. I thought she was fantastic in this match.
Agreed. I mean, Thunder Rosa clearly outshines Britt Baker in the ring, but when it comes to character-wise, I'm all for Britt Baker's character.
So I have my Blood Brothers bloody wrestling figure of Cody and Dustin. We need a Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Blood Sisters 2-pack.
Knowing AEW, they will put their stamp on anything to make money.
Yeah.
So that officially ends Shamrock Slam from AEW. That's okay, Eddie.
We still got a little more to go. We're going to go through Fastlane. That's WWE's pay-per-view tonight. So thanks for joining us, though. And Eddie agrees. Britt versus Thunder Rosa was a great match. Phil, WWE Network is switching over to the Peacock network. Have you purchased the Peacock streaming service yet?
I will officially after tonight's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Get my $5, saving myself $5 and getting all of Peacock's platforms. So
yeah, I guess this is the last pay-per-view that is on the WWE network. You can watch it on either service right now, but after this, I guess it's gone, and everyone's going to have to get the Peacock network to watch WrestleMania. I think they're doing a special right now where you can get the first 4 months for $10. So it only costs you $250, even less than their $5 monthly price they're charging.
I am now going to look at that price as soon as I'm done here.
Yeah.
Might as well get, because it's so much fun to watch, even just to check back the old Attitude Years, especially when I'm drawing and need to get my work done. I just pop that on in the background, and it's good just to look up and be like, man, I remember these days, and just there's nothing like it.
Let's run down the Fastlane card, and we'll give our predictions. United States champion Matt Riddle is defending against Mustafa Ali. I expect Riddle to retain. Mustafa Ali's getting no love by WWE.
Retribution is going to be no longer. If you see Dominic Dijakovic and Mia Yim have already changed their social media profiles back to who they were before Reckoning and T-Bar. So it goes a little bit away.
Yeah, I beat you to the punch, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. Got to go with Rollins. Nakamura, WWE has no plans for this guy.
Oh, Seth Rollins, I'm all for shit talking, better type of wrestler, Seth Rollins character. I got to give to Seth Rollins. The man comes up. He's like third right now in wrestling. It's Jericho, Matt Hardy, and Seth Rollins. The three guys who constantly find a way to change and evolve. And he's been a standout whatever gimmick he does and sort of thrown into.
Next match, kind of a weird one. Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton.
Return of the Fiend. Return of the Fiend, and Alexa Bliss goes over.
Yeah, this is just leading to WrestleMania. Fiend versus Randy Orton.
Okay. Do you remember WrestleMania a few years ago with the Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, and they had
the worms?
Oh my god, it was so bad. So bad. It was like high school theater major was just like, let's go do it, guys.
Randy went over that match too, didn't he?
Yeah,
which was head scratcher.
And Randy will go over again because Bray Wyatt never seems to get anyone behind him.
That was a weird WrestleMania too, because they were building up Harper for a while too, and you thought, oh, it's going to be a three-way between all the Wyatt members, and then they were like, nah, it's just going to be Randy, and Randy's going to win the title.
I feel like that's every WrestleMania. Randy's gonna win.
Yeah. All right. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. I haven't been following this feud at all. I expect I'm going to say Shane gets the upper hand and pulls this victory off.
If this match happens, it's been on WWE's website. It's been pulled, advertised on SmackDown, pulled. Who knows if the match is going to happen? Shane McMahon, Nickelodeon slimed Braun Strowman on Monday. It's just the decline of Monday Night Raw. It really is the worst wrestling show I have ever seen. Like, this is the worst in WWF/WWE's history. I don't think there's anything worse than this current Raw product.
Agreed.
But Shane will go over.
Intercontinental Championship, Big E versus Apollo Crews. I really love Apollo Crews' new Nigerian prince, Nigerian royalty gimmick, but Big E's winning. It looks like WWE's all in on Big E. I expect him to be the first person who may give Roman Reigns a serious run for the title.
Big E is channeling his inner Sam Jackson. Apparently, Paul Heyman is one of the lead. Paul Heyman and Daniel Bryan are like the two lead creative writers for SmackDown, and Triple H is sort of like run SmackDown while Vince is running Raw, and you can just tell Triple H is like, just go for it, young man, because Big E is cutting these fire promos. I think he will be the guy who ends up taking the belt off Roman eventually. If you want to build someone, mic skills, in-ring skills, just overall nice guy and human being, give it to Big E.
Yeah. Women's Tag Team Championship, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. I think Nia and Shayna are going to get the victory. And, of course, Sasha and Bianca Belair won't be able to coexist as a tag team. They write this story practically every year for us.
It's always the show before WrestleMania. Challenger and champion work together, can't work together. The belt changes hands at WrestleMania.
Eddie, not a fan of Nia Jax.
Eddie, I am with you. I can't even believe she's still here. And she does have I can believe it because The Rock's her cousin, but that's it. It's just terrible.
Next up, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, no holds barred. Drew McIntyre's getting the victory. He's going on to face Lashley at WrestleMania. I feel like it's been at least 5 years we've been dealing with a Lashley Drew McIntyre feud. It goes all the way back to Impact Wrestling, Phil.
Shout out to Impact, who on their Impact Rewind had Lashley versus McIntyre, right, and put that up on their website for everyone to see. So kudos to Impact for doing that. But what a way to make us not care about a match by having Monday officially announce he's challenging for the title at WrestleMania. This is now an instant fast forward match.
And then finally, we got the Universal Champion, the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. I'm looking for, this is a matchup I've been looking forward to, but a month away from WrestleMania, when you know he's facing Edge. Edge is the guest referee. I mean, someone could say, "Oh, this is a way to insert Daniel Bryan into the WrestleMania main event." I don't think it's happening. I see Bryan losing, and I see Roman Reigns going on to WrestleMania and defeating Edge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Edge is here to do anything except his dream matches. I think eventually it's going to be Edge. It's going to be Edge versus Daniel Bryan. I think that's a match that we've never got to see, and a match we will see. And Roman sort of is just on the way to keep building up until someone takes the title off of him.
I read an article on Daniel Bryan today. He was talking about his dream matches. Do you know who he listed as one of his dream matches at WWE?
Who?
Grand Metalik. That's a guy who he doesn't care about the main event. He just cares about having great matches. He wants to wrestle Grand Metalik because he's an amazing talent. But yeah, it's a shame WWE isn't as excited about Grand Metalik as Daniel Bryan is.
Daniel Bryan gives these terrible answers to these. Don't ever. I hate when they interview Daniel Bryan because, like, if he's not in character, he's got to give you people that he's just like Aiden English. I'd love to wrestle him, and then you're just like, he was cut a few years ago, dude. Like, he gives you these weird names.
Here's the thing: he just wants to help everyone backstage, and he may be too nice for the WWE.
Like, I mean, there was so much when he wrestled Kane after he won the belts, beating Orton and Batista, after beating Triple H, and then he had to retire. And then I remember I was fading out, but when Daniel Bryan was cleared, I went back on to watch that feud, and it just seems like. And then he had that nice little resurgence as like the Planet's champion, and now we're just back to helping guys again. I want that Daniel Bryan magic back again.
Yeah, we'll see if he has any of that magic tonight. But that's it for this week's La Pod Gods. Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find new art and now on Twitter and Instagram at Animated Phil.
Are you going to join us this week for Best Friends Show?
When is it?
Thursday, 4:30.
Thursday, 4:30. You got it.
All right, you heard it here. If Phil is not part of this,
I have a surprise. Well, here's the thing. I have a surprise for you and Sean. Leroy, I can always be better. But not on this show because I'm the best, because I'm the main event.
Who's winning that fantasy league, Phil?
You are.
All right, you have a surprise for me and Sean?
Yep, Thursday at 4:30.
All right, you heard it here. Phil's going to be part of the Best Friends Show. He has a surprise. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton, hit the notifications, and follow me over to John Malin's channel in 13 minutes. We're going to be launching Graveyard Shift, man. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next week.